Welcome to Solve a Venn Diagram with AL Code. Hey, I'm Eric, and freshly returned from DynamicsCon 2025 in, where were we? We were in Chicago. Had a great time, met a lot of people, maybe even said hi to you, and that was pretty cool actually. I did a talk on, trying to do a YouTube video in live, not recording it, but just stand up and then let's just program something. And what we built was a very nice kind of a customer attribute application, specifically for certificates. Like, is this customer certified to purchase a certain item or not? Let's say you were selling dangerous pieces, explosive, medical, I don't know, something that requires special certification to have, and then you added certifications to a customer and on an item, and then when you try to make an order, you can only order stuff that you were certified for. That was a nice app, and the last part of the talk of the session, so I had an hour, produced 300 lines of code, pretty good, was trying to say, but what if we want to find a customer that had more than one certification? How do we search for a customer that has both one certification and another one? Trying to find the Venn diagram between two sets of data. And I thought, that was actually fun, and I did one version of in the session, and maybe there are other ways of doing it. So that's what we're gonna explore in this video. Let me just show you the app that we built. Here is the certification list. Looks nice. We have some certifications. We can create one for if they're certified for YouTube, because you should be YouTube, and we don't need to put a vendor on it. And if you go to the customer list, we can see that we got a bunch of customers. This one has no certification, so let's add certification for YouTube, and let's add certification for CFR 49, and let's add a certification for Dynamite, and then we can go to another customer. So very nice little app, also YouTube certified apparently. And the third one, and we can go and give this Dynamite, and this one should probably just be YouTube, and so on. Right there is a set of certifications now. So how do we search for that? Because if we go and look, we can see, let's go back to someone here. We can see that the table, if I go here and then I look at the customer certification table. Oh, I don't. Microsoft, why is this not clickable? That's kind of weird. Efficient. That's probably a BC26 bug. Anyway, so here's the table, and the table is super simple. There is two fields, actually three. There's a customer number, a certification, and issued at. So we can easily filter and see, well, if I like filter to this value, I get all the customers as this. If I filter to another value, I get all the customers who have this. But I need to find the Venn diagram. I need to find the overlapping customers between the two sets. So let's try to do that. So here is the app we created at DynamicsCon. Just make it big so everybody can see what's going on. So like, there's the certification table, there's a list, there's the fact box, there's the customer certification table, there's an extension to the customer card where we're adding the fact box. There is the item table where we have something if there's needed, and then we add that field to the screen. And there is some logic right now just on the sales line. So if you type in an item number, make sure that this item is certified, that user certified that item. So anyway, but somewhere here, this one I didn't even rename the page nicely. So the customer search page, we created that, and it looks something like this. So if I do certification search, we can type in 2 certifications, and then we can click search, and we should get the list of whoever is in both. So how do we do that? Well, let me start by actually showing what I did at the session, which now after programming live for an hour, then you know, your brain starts doing something. But anyway, we got to a solution, and what I wanted to do, and so just to be clear, how the page is working is that page works on the customer table. So it's just a customer list with 2 fields at the top. So what I want eventually is saying rec marked only true. So I wanna mark all the customers who are in both sets. So clearly, before I start this, I need to clear marks, and just to be very sure, I also remove any filters that might have been there. So we have the customer certification table. So I can create a variable for that, customer certification. This was the table with the customer number as certification and the issue that which we do not care about right now. So what I can do, and this is probably the simplest, purest AL version, is say, well, and we have, just to be clear, up here we have the 2 fields, so cert1 and cert2, and right now the pages, we don't want to complicate the world with only one and so on. So we assume that both are filled out. So we can do cost cert, set range, certificate, wow, certification, comma cert1. So if cost cert find set, then repeat of which until cost cert next equals 0. So now we are looping through all the customers who are in the first set. One way to do this, and I'll do this one, and then I'll show you what I did at the conference. So how about we do cost cert 2, and then we create another variable of the same thing. So now we know that cost cert contains a customer that is in the first group. So we could actually go and say, if cost cert 2 dot get, what is the primary key here? It's customer number and certification. So we could go and say, hang on. So if we have the same customer as we get from the first one, but the second certificate. So if that customer, so we have gotten the record in the first one, and then we say, does the record also exist in the second one? Then, you know, we're gonna mark this customer saying, hey, this customer is in both cases. I think that's actually working. Let's try it out. So there's a, let's see, this is 59602. Let's see if I remember that at conference. I did. I put it into the startup object. Okay, so here goes something. Maybe. Oh, there we go. I gotta log in. So let's say that we want to check between third and YouTube search. Boom. Is that right? Let's see. That is not right. Interesting. Did I make a boo-boo? So this one is clearly third, but there's no YouTube here. So let's go back and look at the code. What did we get wrong in that bit of logic here? So we find that they have a customer is in the set for cert 1. Then we do check certification 2. And if we can get a record in certification 2, then we mark the record for this. Okay, so let's run this with the debugger. Let's see what's happening here. I did select, I forgot what I selected. I select third, and I selected YouTube search. We got a breakpoint of which. So cost cert is customer 40, which has a third, and cost cert 2 is, oh, rookie mistake, Eric. So what is rec at this point? Well, rec is nothing, so we wow, did you yell at the screen at this point? You should. I deserved a good yelling here. So we should probably actually get the record. So we have the correct one in mark. That, yeah, and me, I threw myself for. That's why we test. That's why we. So that one was called third, and this one was called YouTube search. We get the breakpoint again, and now rec is 40. Boom. So we search one, we saw if it was in the other one. In this case, this is fairly simple because we can easily check if something is in the other one, because there's a direct primary key solution. But what if it's not that easy to check the second one? Well, and this is what I did at the so let's call this one search 1, and then we'll just copy this one. Oops, search 1. Now we're just gonna copy this guy. There, boom. Search 2. So this is what I did at the conference. So we still run through the first element, but then I create a list. In reality, I create what is known as a hash table. I wanted to create a hash table, which is a quick in-memory construct. You could also go with a temporary table of some sort. But I think this one actually uses less memory and is faster. And there's probably a video on the channel about this. So I create a dictionary of what's the primary key of a customer. That's a code 20. And because you cannot create a hash table in Business Central, we can only create a dictionary. I just say, okay, populate it with the least memory hungry entity, which probably is a Boolean. Maybe a byte. We could argue that it could be a byte 1, just a byte. Because we're not using this, we only want to check whether there's something in it. So what we'll do here now instead is saying, hang on, instead of all this, when we loop through the first set, the only thing we want to do, and I know, remember, this is a fairly simple set of data, which is why method 1 is probably the best. But if this is complex, the process of getting to the subset, then method 2 makes sense. So we go to the list and we want to add the customer number to that one. And then we need to add a byte. So in this case, that could just be 0. So now list will basically, after this loop has completed, the list will contain a quick lookup for anything that is in the first segment. So now we do kind of the same thing. So let's do the second one. So we set a new filter then on the second part. And we just gotta copy code because we are that lazy. So now we're looping. So looping the first segment, whatever we're gonna call it. Looping the second segment. But this time, now we wanna mark them. But the only ones we're going to mark is the one that we find here that we also found here. And so what we can do, we can say if list contains the key. So we're going to do cost cert customer number. So if the customer number we find in the second set also exists in the first set, then we can remember to get the record, and then we can mark that as true. And somewhere down here we still have mark only because I did not delete that. So we define the hash table because we don't care about the value in it, we just care whether there's an entry or not. We loop through the first segment, we populate our hash table, then we loop through the second part. If we meet something that was also in the first table, then we mark it and we run it. So let's see if it works. So now we're gonna do Dynamite and YouTube. That's a great combination. Looks like, see, there's no lookup. This is kind of annoying. I want to look up. So let's improve our app just a bit. Customer certification table. See, this is why no prototype code written live on stage should not go into production, because clearly here I forgot a table relation. And the same thing here. Table relation equals certification certification. So a simple rename would have broken our app. What did I say? I said Dynamite and YouTube. Search 2, boom. Oh, lookup is not actually that, because this is the customer table. Nonetheless, Thiago, let's check Thiago, that this is right. Thiago has a Dynamite on YouTube. So that's locating the members of two different segments. I know my method 1 is far superior here than method 2 because of the simple data set. But if the data set is super complex, you cannot easily just go and get a simple one, then it makes sense to build up the hash table and process the second part and compare to the process. If you you can expand this because you can add a third one, and both methods you can add a third one if you want to. You can also start thinking about optimizing that. If you're using the first method, you want to start with the one with the fewest members. So if 2 has 10 and 3 has 2,000, then it's much faster to start with the smallest one. So there's a lot of interesting optimization that can happen in this place. Anyway, that's some AL hacking from a conference. This other video, you should check this one out. It's a good one. I'll see you there. Take care. Bye.